The movie opens in Belarus as Dresa wakes up in a forest hideout. She marks her calendar date and goes on her routine before she hears a plane arriving nearby. Dresa slowly takes out her sniper rifle as a rich businessman gets out of the plane. Dresa takes the shot from a long distance and eliminates him in just one shot. She takes the shell casing and has a sense of regret on her face. Elsewhere, a former U.S. Marine Scout sniper, Levi, wakes up in the middle of the night after having a nightmare. He goes for a drive and goes to a beach. He sits at the beach writing until morning comes. Levi then receives a message from the government to report to a military base as he is needed for something. He is taken to the base to meet a government higher-up woman, Bartholomew. Bartholomew is impressed by Levi's extreme talent and his 113 confirmed kills during his service. She asks him why he stopped working, and Levi tells her that he was told by a corporate shrink that he was unfit for a mission. She asks him a series of questions like if he has a girlfriend or a family and if he uses any drugs or alcohol. But Levi says he doesn't have a girlfriend or a family and doesn't use any drugs but takes a small amount of alcohol to help him with his nightmares. Bartholomew asks him why he doesn't use medicines, and Levi tells her it affects his precision. Levi says he doesn't have any reasons left for him to see a doctor. Bartholomew then offers to give him one. Pravoka, Lithuania, Dresa meets her father, Ericus, at her mother's grave. He tells her that there is a rumor that she was seen by a drone in her Belarus mission, and that Russia cannot risk having a direct link to the death of the businessman. Dresa feels remorse for the death of the oligarch since he was a father of 4. Ericus takes the shell casing and tells her that the oligarch made his fortune by trading in white phosphorus bombs and landmines. Because of this, many innocent children lost their lives. He puts the shell case in a bag with all her other kills and tells her to give her shame to him and move forward. He asks her to stay with him for a few days and unwind from all the work she has been doing. But Dresa says she can't since she has a briefing in Moscow the next day and was told she will be going dark for a year. Dresa then asks him if he has seen the doctor she arranged for him. He tells her that it wouldn't make a difference since he has cancer, and it has spread to his liver, pancreas, and other part of his body. He says that death will be a welcome change for him. Ericus tells her that he already decided his fate and tells her that he will take his life on February 14th as he is ready to finally rest with her mother. He asks her to light a candle for him from wherever she is and to look at the hunter in the night sky. They drink their beers as a final goodbye. September, Levi is being taken by a helicopter to his mission. One soldier scans his handprint and takes all his belongings. She informs him that in 3 minutes they will reach a no-fly zone, and that is as far as they can take him. He then has to continue on foot from there. She gives him a package and tells him to open it once he reaches his destination. When Levi asks her where they are, she tells him that she is not authorized to answer that. Levi then jumps out of the airplane and deploys his parachute. He lands in a rural location before he continues on foot. He travels for 2 days through extreme land like snowy and steep mountains, rivers, and forests. Levi finally manages to reach his destination. He sees a deep and massive gorge with 2 towers on each side of the end. He is then met by a soldier named JD. JD is happy to see him since Levi is the first person he has spoken face-to-face in a year. And his full-year tour rotation ends at midnight. JD takes him to the tower, where he will be staying for the next 365 days. Levi asks about the other tower. JD tells him that it is the East Tower, and contact with the other side is strictly forbidden. Inside, Levi sees a picture of an old soldier, Captain Bradford Shaw, who was the first guard of the gorge. JD informs him to check the ammo for the automatic miniguns every 600 meters. He should also check the containment fence, cloakers, and suspended mines every day. He tells him that there is a radio check every 30 days. Levi asks him what a cloaker is, and JD tells him that it is a type of satellite transmitter that sends false signals to all satellites to make the gorge invisible. JD tells him that there is no outside communication or so, and in case of emergency, there is a button on the radio he uses every 30 days. JD tells him that if the cloakers all fail at once or if the gorge is overrun, their automated systems execute a stray dog protocol. When Levi asks what stray dog protocol is, JD tells him he has no idea, but if he hears the air raid sirens on the top of the tower, he should immediately run away. He informs him that since the end of the Second World War, the Western and Eastern nations made an agreement to keep the place a secret. And since then, every year, 2 representatives from the West and East gets assigned to patrol their respective areas. When Levi asks his main objective, JD tells him that he is there not to keep people from going in the gorge, but to keep what's in the gorge from coming out. He throws a bomb inside the gorge and Levi hears roars and screams coming out. JD tells him that they are called the Hollow Men, and that nobody knows what they are. In 1940, 2,400 men on horseback went into the gorge to clean it out, but not a single man returned. Since then, the people in charge have decided to contain it. Levi asks him what he thinks of the place, and JD tells him that he thinks they are at the gates of hell. JD finally packs his things and leaves. At night, Levi eats dinner and spends his time writing poems. He puts his rifle by his side before he sleeps. The next day, JD's transport arrives. In the air, one soldier asks for his identity before he thanks him for his service and shoots him dead. The soldier cuts off the rope and throws JD out. He calls Bartholomew and confirms that the one-year rotation is complete. October, Levi changes the power battery for the Cloaker satellites before he checks the containment fence and automatic miniguns. He then performs his monthly radio check, where they ask him about the Cloakers and any enemy contact. When Levi tries to ask something, they just tell him that the procedure is complete until the next month and hang up. While looking for a book to read, Levi sees something on the wall. He moves the shelf to see a bunch of quotes written by many previous guards of the gorge, including Bradford Shaw's. While tending to his garden, Levi hears a noise coming from the east side. He looks through his binoculars to see Dresa cutting some wood. That night, Levi has another nightmare, making him accidentally stomp on a broken glass. November, Dresa is celebrating her birthday alone while Levi is writing his poem. Dresa gets bored and goes inside and writes something before she goes out and fires her gun. Levi checks it out through his binoculars and sees her asking his name. Levi tells her that they are not allowed contact, but Dresa writes him her name and tells him that it is her birthday. Levi tells her his name and wishes her a happy birthday. They make a toast for her birthday before she opens music through a speaker. She asks him what he can do best, and Levi tells her that he is a good shot. She challenges him to shoot a champagne bottle from there. Levi refuses and starts to leave, but Dresa shoots down his cup. Levi picks up his rifle and shoots the champagne bottle. Dresa then picks another champagne bottle and puts it on her head and dares Levi to shoot it. But she suddenly sees something from Levi's side and informs him. Levi is shocked to see the hollow men creatures coming for him. He shoots some of them down before a mine on the wall explodes, killing more of them. Dresa then gets on a .50 caliber machine gun and starts shooting the creatures on Levi's side. But suddenly, the hollow men start climbing toward Dresa. The mine on her side explodes, injuring Dresa in the process. Levi also gets on his .50 caliber machine gun and starts shooting the hollow men on his and Dresa's side as more show up. Dresa also gets back on her .50 caliber and starts shooting. The automatic miniguns activate, and the place turns into a war zone. The two manage to hold the advance of the hollow men. The next day, as Levi is setting up new mines, he and Dresa see a drone coming out of the gorge before it flies away. The two spend the next months getting to know each other and joking around through their binoculars, even playing chess. As Levi does his regular check on his perimeter, he looks at Dresa's side and doesn't see her. Dresa is mourning her father as it is February 14th, the day he told her he was going to die. Levi asks her what is wrong as he didn't see her on patrol. Dresa tells him that it was a hard day and that she wishes he was with her. Levi spends the night contemplating before he gets up and reads a quote on the wall that states, "Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." He goes to the weapon bunker and starts crafting a makeshift grappling gun. He shoots it, and it manages to reach Dresa's side. She quickly ties the rope to a tree and forms a zip line. Levi then asks her for dinner tonight. He spends the day getting ready and gathering flowers for her. Levi then uses the zip line to travel to Dresa's side and manages to reach it safely. They meet in person and Dresa tells him that she has made him a rabbit pie. Levi gives her the flowers he brought her, to which she thanks him. They have dinner together as they discuss where they might be. Levi guesses that they might be in the northern hemisphere since the seasons are the same as in the US. She asks him his longest kill shot, and Levi says 3,241 meters, impressing Dresa. She asks him if he made the impossible shot 1 year ago in Yemen, which was 3,800 meters on a windy day, but Levi says it wasn't him. Levi asks the truth about the place and the hollow men. Dresa tells him that her father used to say that too much truth puts sadness in your heart and madness in your mind. But Levi says that not knowing the truth is what does that, and says he learned that the first time he pulled the trigger, and that he has had a recurring nightmare about it ever since. Dresa tells him that she used to tell all her secrets to her father so that she doesn't have to carry them. Levi says that if you bury enough secrets, the graveyard starts to run out of room. Dresa asks him why he chose this profession. Levi says that his father was a hunter and used to coach him to be the perfect shot, and that made an impression on him. The two then dance together before they have their first kiss. Dresa tells him about her father's death and asks him what he does when he feels sad. Levi says he writes poetry and that he is currently writing one for her. Dresa asks him to recite it for her. Levi refuses as he hasn't finished it yet, but tells her that the title is called She Collapsed the Night. The next day, Levi gets ready to get back to his tower. Dresa asks if he likes the rabbit pie, and Levi tells her that he loves it. He starts to make his way back, but suddenly, the hollow men start climbing up on his side of the wall, triggering the mine. The mine explosion snaps the rope, sending Levi down the gorge. Dresa quickly grabs her weapons and a parachute before she jumps after Levi. She deploys her parachute and lands on a river. Her parachute gets caught on a rock before she frees herself, but drops some of her equipment. The current of the water drags her downward, but Dresa manages to grab onto a tree branch. Levi has survived, but is knocked unconscious and is held upside down on a tree by his parachute. A giant mutated creature starts to stalk him, but Levi wakes up in time and shoots the creature, which Dresa hears. He cuts off his parachute and falls in what looks like a red sticky goo. Before Levi can get off, the tree root starts to wrap around him. Fortunately, Dresa arrives and sets him free. They look around before something fast starts to stalk them. Hollow men on horses start to attack them. One grabs Levi as another gets off the horse and attacks Dresa. Dresa manages to stab it in the neck before she shoots it dead. Levi shoots the horse multiple times, knocking the hollow men off. He then shoots it dead. Judging by the way they attacked, Levi guesses that to them, they are just food. Dresa checks her bag, and the auto-ascender is not there. She realizes that it has fallen out in the river, and they are stuck with no way to get back up. Levi checks their clothes and sees an old airborne uniform from 1940. Dresa says she saw old British SAS and Soviet Spetsnaz uniforms too, suggesting that they're the lost battalions from JD's story. The two continue to move forward and pass through a wasteland full of dead people's remains and rare tree structures. They then arrive in an old empty town. Dresa and Levi see a big crack in the ground that is caused by an earthquake. They start to hear noises coming from the distance, so they go to hide in an old church. Inside, there are many dead people's remains sitting. Levi finds a small vial on one of the dead person's hands, and they quickly realize that it is a cyanide. This suggests that all of them unalive themselves. The two look around before they suddenly get attacked by mutated spiders. Soon, a whole swarm of mutated spiders descends upon them. The two shoot and kill some of them, but the hollow men burst in. They fight both the hollow men and the mutated spiders before Dresa blows a hole in the wall to make them an escape route. The two run out of the church and more hollow men start to come. They reach the gorge wall and find a bunker door. Having no choice, the two enter and barricade themselves. They explore the place, and it has been abandoned for a long time. The two then reach a laboratory. They find more dead bodies all around the lab. Levi then finds an old tape. They find the generator and turn it on. They then find an old projectile and Levi puts on the tape he found. They see a woman, who explains that the gorge is an experimental site formed as part of a top-secret coalition of nations from both East and West. During the Second World War, they were developing destructive biochemical missiles. But they got hit by an 8.1 earthquake, compromising the facility. She appears to be sick and says that they are now trying to prevent the toxin of the biochemical weapon from escaping the gorge. She explains that exposure to the biochemical contaminant merges the DNA of different species, like human DNA with plants and even insects, explaining the hollow men. She says that contamination differs from person to person and the time of days they are exposed to. If the person is infected, they will show symptoms within 5 days. Dresa finds multiple samples from the experiment. The woman shows that she has been infected. The two then find a 2000s computer. They open it up to find files from a paramilitary group called Dark Lake. They realize that the reason the gorge hasn't been bombed is because they are still studying it, explaining the drone they saw earlier in the movie. They are collecting samples from the hollow men to build super soldiers, and they are there to protect their secrets. Levi then opens the Stray Dog Protocol file. He sees that the Stray Dog is a very powerful bomb designed for self-destruction of the gorge in case it is exposed. Before they get back outside, Levi tells her what happens next. It is worth it for him because he got to know her, and Dresa tells him it is the same for her too. They go outside and find their supplies sitting. When Dresa picks it up, a trap activates and she gets dragged away by a hollow man on a horse. She tries to shoot it, but she gets hit by a tree branch and is knocked out. Levi follows her and reaches a chemical missile facility. Dresa is held inside the facility and the hollow men start to torture her. Dresa kicks him and sets herself free before she fights him. The hollow man uses his strength to overpower her before he attacks her with a sword. Dresa manages to hurt him with a burning wood before Levi gets there and kills the hollow man. He checks his uniform and it is revealed to be Bradford Shaw. Due to the earthquake, the missiles started leaking and the contaminant is in the fog. They reach a massive web of yellow goo composed of multiple hollow men creatures. As they quietly start to make their way through, Dresa trips on the web, waking the creatures up. Levi sets her free, but before they can escape, the goo grabs him. Dresa fires a bomb and blows it up. The two make it outside and find an old car that has strong winches. They drive the truck to the gorge wall to use it as an auto-ascender. They pass by the Stray Dog bomb before they reach the gorge wall. They attach the car winch to the snapped rope and start to make their way up. As they were on their way up, more hollow men shows up and starts attacking them. They fight them off, but more and more starts to show up. They pour the car's gasoline on the hollow men before they set them ablaze. But the car starts to burn too. The two manages to get off the car and cut the rope. The car stumbles downward, taking the hollow men that is left. The two get back up to their tower. They decide to quarantine themselves for 5 days in case they are infected. Levi tells her that the reason they chose him for this job is because he has nobody to miss him if he dies, but says that now he has everything to live for since he got her. Draca suggests they escape and live together someplace safe. But Levi says they need to take care of the gorge first since the hollow men are contaminants, and if one of them escapes, the whole world will be infected. Levi uses another grappling gun to get back to his side of the tower. He does his radio check and is met by Bartholomew. She asks him if he has gone into the gorge since their research drone computer system was activated. But Levi tells her he did not. She tells him that the primary aim of their research is to make American ground forces unbeatable. She asks him if he has seen any movement from the East Tower, but Levi denies that too. She tells him to eliminate Draca since if it wasn't him who activated the computer, it must be her. It is revealed that Bartholomew has seen both Levi and Draca go to the gorge. She orders her men to gather as they plan to go to the gorge and kill both Levi and Draca. Levi and Draca start setting up wired bombs around all the cloakers. They then hear a helicopter approaching nearby. They run off into the woods as Bartholomew arrives at the towers with her team of special forces. They search for Levi inside the tower before they send drones to hunt them down. Multiple drones start to attack both Levi and Draca. The two start to take out the drones one by one, but one of the drones injures Levi before he takes it out. Levi checks his compass and sees he has gotten 3.8 kilometers away from the gorge. They both run away far enough from the gorge before they set up their snipers. Bartholomew sees Levi's quote on the tower wall that states, "3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth." Levi then shoots one cloaker on his side before Draca shoots another on her side, starting a series of bombs that start to blow up all the other cloakers. The two then start to run away, and Bartholomew hears the sirens going off, indicating that Stray Dog Protocol has been activated. She and her team run out and try to escape with their helicopter as the Stray Dog bomb prepares to launch. Bartholomew and her team start to fly out of there, but the Stray Dog goes off. It blows up everything in the gorge, and before Bartholomew can escape, it crashes and explodes their helicopter. Draca is at a safe distance, but Levi gets thrown off into a river by the bomb. Draca spends the night in a cave and finds a message from Levi in her pocket telling her to open it if he doesn't make it to sunset. But Draca takes it without opening it. France, Draca waits for Levi until sunset before she opens the message. It is the poem he wrote for her. Draca reads it and cries. April, Draca is working as a waiter at a restaurant. As she was taking orders, she suddenly saw Levi there. He writes to her and tells her that he would like a rabbit pie. She tells him that he is late, and Levi says he got injured at his old job. He tells her that he has broken the longest shot, hitting the cloaker from 3,900 meters. They kiss and reunite once again.